So let's go back to the beginning a little bit. You said you've been in the profession for almost 10 years. Did you always want to be a K-12 educator?
Absolutely. My great grandmother was the only other educator within the family. Everybody else is in the medical field or in the military.
Okay.
So with that, my great grandmother was a teacher over an all boys school back in the day. So with that, seeing her do that, and before she passed, she was going on her doctoral journey herself, and she found out that she had a brain tumor. And so with that, she was short about 3 credits from.
All right, everyone, we are super excited to have our next amazing guest on the My K-12 Career Show. We have Dr. Tuveesha Campbell, who lives currently in the great state of Arizona in the city of Tucson, but she is a Texas girl. She was raised in the state of Texas and comes from a military background. And she has an amazing story, and we're super excited that she so graciously accepted our offer to come on the show. So without any further ado, Dr. Campbell, thank you so much for coming on the show. What's going on in your life and in your K-12 career right now?
Thank you for having me. Currently in my K-12 career right now, it's a bunch of fun.
Awesome.
I have to say, it's a bunch of fun. I've been in this career field since about 2013, 2014. I started off as a special education teacher. From there, I wanted to fulfill my purpose in regards to working in education, helping those that need that assistance. So with that, I ended up becoming an MTSS facilitator throughout the years. With that, before I became an MTSS facilitator, I actually seen what was going on in the background for minorities pertaining to special education and that loophole that some people kind of try to use when they can't figure it out. So I'll just put that child, special education just to get it through. But with that kind of irritated my spirit. So with that, I started my doctorate, and I set the goal to complete my doctorate by the age of 30, but I ended up finishing at 31. But in that process, I was teaching, I was an MTSS facilitator. From there, I became the assistant director of special education over my previous school district. So, we had about 7 schools and close to 500 kids within that department. So yes. So with that, after I finished my doctorate. And from there, I was like, you know what? I kind of want to be a principal. That's when you're a child, you see the principals like, oh my gosh, it's the principal. So like for me, it was like, why not? So now I am a high school principal over an alternative high school.
Wow. Okay.
Yes, absolutely. So it's fun there. I will tell you, I always brief my staff and let them know we are here to give them a great experience. And that's not saying that we're enabling the students, but our students 9 times out of 10 came to our school because something bad happened, right? So with that, we don't want to add to that, experience. We're here to give a great experience. Now, if it makes a left, it's not going to be because of us. It'll be because, students that are making those choices. But even then, we provide the support and the resources so students won't go down that path. And so far, it's been amazing. It's been amazing.
That's good. That's good. So, there's different types of alternative schools. And actually, we have that in common. My first principalship was at an alternative school. But, you have some alternative schools that are involuntary, meaning you're placed there because, like you said, there might have been an offense that caused them to have to go. But then you have some that are voluntary, and it just might be a better fit for the student. And then you have some schools that are hybrid. They're both voluntary and involuntary. So what is your school?
So mine is actually voluntary. So with that, we have all sorts of students. We've had students that might have been expelled
Okay.
from the public school district, and then, they come to our school.
Mhm.
And before we admit them, I have a process to where they have to come sit down with me. Their
Okay.
parents have to come sit down with me. And let's just chat. Let's
Mhm.
just figure out your background. Let's figure out where was the hiccup at and how can we better assist.
I
And
like that.
so with those students, they come in. We actually had like a high flyer at our school, and looking at the records, it was like, whoa. But it was something in my spirit that was like,
Mhm.
we want to give these kids a second chance. And,
Sure.
since that student has been there, it hasn't been really any issues.
Mm.
And so that's so exciting. But, we have students, we have at-risk students, we have students that have kids. Some students, they went to school across the street and they just want to stay in the same neighborhood. So they come to my school. So we have all sorts of students. When I say alternative, especially like when I do my interviews with my teachers before
Mhm.
we onboard them, I say it's an alternative school, but don't think of it as alternative with a negative connotation.
Sure.
It's an alternative school to where it's a different path to the same destination. And
Okay.
so that's what we do here. That's what we
Oh,
do
that's
here.
amazing. That's really
Mhm.
cool. So yeah, I'm excited for you. I think the future is super bright for you working in that setting. And truthfully, alternative schools need amazing leaders like yourself to lead them. So kudos to you.
Thank you.
So let's go back to the beginning a little bit. You said you've been in the profession for almost 10 years. Did you always want to be a K-12 educator?
Absolutely. My great grandmother was the only other educator within
Mhm.
the family. Everybody else is in the medical field or in the military.
Okay.
So, with that, my great grandmother was a teacher over an all boys school back in the day. So, with that, seeing her do that, and before she passed, she was going on her doctoral journey herself. And she found out that she had a brain tumor. And
Mm.
so with that, she was short about 3 credits from getting her. And
Mm.
so me going for my doctorate was a bit personal, right?
Sure.
On top of that, seeing what she did, way back in the day, being a teacher over an all boys school in the South, that's a bit rough.
Was that in
But
Texas?
yes, absolutely.
Okay.
She went to Paul Quinn, and
Okay.
then she went
Yeah.
to Prairie View. Hmm.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes. She was my inspiration. But my mom
Mm.
is a medical doctor over the geriatrics unit. And my
Wow.
dad served in the military a little over 30 years. And then he retired. So they ended up getting a little ranch outside of Waco. And now, they just do whatever, just have fun.
Oh, that's awesome. So your mom is retired too, correct?
No, no, my mom's still working. Well, I think she likes that feeling of, helping people, right? She's actually a hospice doctor. So
Wow.
she goes, she sees her patients, and then,
Mm.
she just comes right on home. But I think that's where I actually get my drive from. My mom,
Mm.
mixed with her and my great grandmother, but my mom, she's always been in some sort of school. Ever since I was a kid, my mom was in school. When I graduated high school, she graduated with her master's.
Okay.
And then from there, she just kept going. So, seeing how she could do it, then it was like, I can do it. Why not?
100%.
Yeah.
You,
So, that's just me.
that's awesome. But you mentioned that of your siblings, you were the only one that chose education. What do your siblings do specifically?
So I have all sisters.
Okay.
So my first sister, she's going for her PhD in psychology. And right now she's an ABA therapist. She used to be part of the US Olympic bobsledding team. So she did that for a couple of years.
Oh,
And then the next sister, she's actually an RN in the oncology unit in Texas. And then my last sister, she's going for her master's in psychology and she'll be finished in May.
wow. Nice. That's really good. Did any of your sisters follow in your dad's footsteps and join the military?
No. No, I will say one thing about me and my sisters, and we're known as the Jones girls. But my dad always told us you got about 3 choices. He was like, in the military, invent something, or be a professional athlete.
Hmm.
Other than that, you're going to have to go to school. Just go to
I
school.
know.
You're not gonna do
That's
any
what's
of that, go
up.
to school.
That's really cool. So there's probably some people that are watching this right now. What would be your pros and cons about getting into our amazing profession, the K-12 profession?
I will say, Deb, that's a good question. I'll
Mhm.
say the pros is honestly helping our future generation. Because it's one thing to see them on TikTok and on Instagram and
Mhm.
you're concerned. So with that, you're contributing to assisting developing the progressive type of society.
Yeah,
When we look at these kids and we see them and it's like, okay, once again, are we going to get upset? Or are we going to do something about it?
yeah.
And, I always tell people too, all kids, they remember who was their greatest teacher, who was that teacher that got on their nerves, who was that teacher that was always standing outside the door. They always remember that person. So with our
Mhm.
profession, it definitely leaves a footprint for everybody.
Sure.
Without K-12, you can't do anything.
Yeah, that's so
You
true.
can't do anything.
Yeah,
So I would say that is definitely the pro. Now the con to it is sometimes you hit those bumps in the road to
yeah.
where you come across some people to where it's like, okay, why are you here? And I hope it's not for a check, because if that was the case, you should have became an engineer if you want to get the money. But you come across those people to where it's like, well, this was the easiest thing for me to get in. So it's almost like you have to, I don't want to say maneuver around the people, but you got to learn how to work with the people, especially if you have that shining passion to be
Yes.
of assistance. Those people that are just there because they just want to chill. it,
That's so
it
sad.
makes it a bit harder. And
Yeah.
especially, of course, working with at-risk youth, it's easy to just stamp the whole information or data as, okay, well, these students are performing low. Okay, but what are we doing for them to perform high?
100%.
What are we doing? What are we doing? What interventions are we doing versus just saying, okay, they can't do this. Okay, what are we doing to assist them to make it there? So
Yeah, that's cool. So you got your PhD at a very young age. I have my doctorate and I earned my doctorate in 2016 and I'm 55 now. So that was 7 years ago. So I was what, 48? So you got it probably, you got yours about 18, 19 years before I got mine. What was your motivation to get it that early? And what were some of the bumps in the road along your PhD journey?
Oh, that's a good question. So, my motivation was seeing how things were going on behind the scenes with minorities in education, right?
Mm,
The little micro things in regards to, okay, this student has an IEP, we're going to suspend them for more than 5 days and not
mm.
give them manifestation determination. That's not okay.
No, it's
or
illegal.
it's illegal, right. But a lot of parents don't know because they trust the education system,
Sure.
and the education system is working for my student. Not saying that the education system it doesn't, but there's some places where you see it and it's like, that's
Hmm.
interesting on what you're
Yeah.
doing. Or even, you would see these people that evaluate students with special needs or evaluate students to see if they qualify for
Yeah.
special education services. And, just understanding the background and the history of where that came from. The
Yeah.
roots of it is in segregation.
Oh,
That's
100.
the
Yeah.
Yeah. And so with that, for me, even when I went for my master's as in special education and then having that specialization as an educational diagnostician, I wanted to understand how to test those kids, how do they get those results, and how do they end up here. So with that, for me, very specifically, it was that mixed
Hmm.
with when I moved to Delaware, I was seeing a lot of things happening to us. And for
Mm,
me, it was like I could see it and be angry, or I
mm.
can see it, get angry, and go ahead and do something about it.
I like that.
So for me, I started my doctoral journey off the rip. With that, I just had my son about a month before I started.
Oh, wow.
I have 4 kids in total.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
so I started it then, and it was my motivation to keep going and keep pressing and,
Yeah.
really get through it because I want to make a difference.
Sure.
And, my dad always told me, while you're young and able bodied, do it now. Because if you don't, when you get older, you're not going to feel like doing it. And honestly, that is me.
Mm.
All of the hard work, let me go ahead and do it now while I have that energy behind me, while I have that passion behind me.
Mm-hmm.
And from there, we go ahead and make an impact. I would say some of the things that were like bumps in the road for me was myself.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, it was myself. So understanding for me, it was a hard call to do my doctorate or go within my doctoral journey. But what kept playing in my head was in high school, I was not a strong writer.
Okay.
And I remembered my high school teacher, my 12th grade teacher, she was grading my essay and she actually ripped it and then paper clipped it to the rubric and told me to fix it. And I'm like, you can't fix a ripped paper. So what do you want me to do? So in short, she was telling me to start over. So having that in the back of my head, like I'm not a good writer, and I know within this journey, it entails a lot of writing. But
Absolutely.
for me, it was like, but my passion is a little bit more. And so with that, I'll endure some of that pain.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
I'll endure some of that just to get the ideal end result, which is to be a major impact to the education system.
Yeah.
So, plowing through, having to change my topic.
Mm.
I was in Delaware, and when COVID kicked off, I had to change my delivery. I couldn't
Mhm.
even do the same delivery. So therefore I had to change my whole topic again. Some people that were not at first, they were willing to participate and then they didn't want to participate.
Mhm. You're talking
So
about your committee members, right?
yes, the
Mhm.
stakeholders in it. So,
Mhm.
I had stakeholders that, promised to go ahead and be in that. And then they all of a sudden just act like I didn't exist.
Wow. Do you think that had something to do with the pandemic? I mean, I know obviously you have your committee, then you have people that are participants. Was it just because they didn't want to be a part of it, with that being what was going on at the time?
No, I think it was honestly they just didn't want to be part of it no more. Yeah, because the pandemic, it kind well, not even kind of, it messed up a lot of things,
Sure.
but
Yeah.
but overall, it was still doable.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
once I moved from Delaware to Arizona, and I had my
Mhm.
stakeholders in Delaware, I'm trying to still communicate with them, and
Oh, okay. 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 Yeah.
yeah, there was none. They
Wow.
they just completely stopped. So for me, that was kind of my breakdown moment. Like, come on, like I'm trying so hard and I
Yeah.
want to finish and I want to just get these wheels going. So,
Hmm.
I can still make an impact then, but I want to make a bigger impact now. So going through that and just changing it up, really finding that peace within myself to
Hmm.
understand, calm down a little bit. You got it. Calm
Yeah.
down a little bit. And it's that patience, it's that working on me,
Yeah.
it's that understanding me. It's really digging deep to figure out, okay, are you really made out of it? Because if you are, then let's get this going. So
That's nice. How long did
yeah.
it take for you to finish your dissertation?
So it took me for my dissertation. I actually started it in 2019. So I finished it this past January.
Oh, okay. So
Hmm.
almost 3 years, right?
It took forever.
Oh, we have that in common. Like, I honestly, I didn't even really and get mine finished until I just decided to just let go and bite the bullet and hire an editor and just do what I need to do to get it done.
But see,
You
that's
know,
the hard part though. It's that moment to where it's like, you know what? I know I'm not all that great. I tried to use the writing center.
writing center don't work.
I did not
Anybody out
work.
there, anybody out there trying to finish that doctor, you need to get a professional editor and make it happen.
Get an editor, please. Because that writing center, that's only for, I'm probably doing a discussion board and I wanted to sound real nice. But go get you an editor. I had an amazing editor. I had an amazing chairperson. Shouts out to Dr. Albert. She has her own editing company, but of course I
Oh,
couldn't use her editing company, but she was absolutely amazing. The editing company that I used was Heartful Editing. And
okay.
they were amazing. And you know how hard it is to find a good editor
It
that
is.
doesn't want to take your money.
No,
They
that's
really
real.
want to help.
That's real. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
very trying on your patience and all. So yeah.
Mhm. So I'm glad we'll definitely get that information from you in the show notes, because I'm sure there's somebody out there that's ABD, and anybody that's in a doctoral program knows what that stands for, and that's not a
They
good
already know.
acronym.
They already know. That's an acronym to where you either A, just feel comfortable with settling with, or B,
Yeah,
you're angry because you're there, so you're trying to get out of it.
100%. Quickly. Yeah.
Get quickly, right?
Yeah. So that's cool, but I'm glad you got through it, and you could not use those acronyms or that acronym, but use the acronym PhD. That sounds a lot better.
Oh yeah, everybody they try to be funny. Growing up, people would make fun of my name.
Uh,
Is it Tuveesha? Or they do, or my favorite one is you people have exotic names, and I'm like,
oh yeah.
okay, for the you people. So
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
they want to be funny, spell your name wrong. Well, I can't say okay, but you can say Dr. Campbell.
Okay, you can say that.
You can
Yeah.
say that, and don't
Yeah.
change it up either. Keep it right
Yes,
there.
I love it. I love
You've
it.
been
You
funny
earned it.
all these years.
You earned it, my friend. So they definitely should call you that 100%. Yeah.
Period.
So if you had to do it all over again, Dr. Campbell, would you still have become an educator and now a school leader or principal?
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Absolutely. 100%. Like I said, I'm having fun now at my school. High schoolers are just big toddlers.
That's all.
That's all they are.
That's
That's
all
all
they
they
are.
are.
That's
Big
right.
toddlers. But yeah, I mean, I would definitely do it all over again. That journey made me the person that I am today, made me
That's
the
awesome.
educator that I am today. I'm a
That's
forever learner, no matter how much I'm in leadership. I'm a
right.
forever learner. So that whole journey made me who I am today.
Yeah. So was there anyone in your upbringing from K through 12, any teacher, counselor, administrator that had a profound impact on your life?
Oh my gosh, yes. So my first mentor during my first year of teaching, Miss Tiffany Battle, she was, oh my gosh, amazing. Like you couldn't ask for anybody better. She was the educational diagnostician. And
Okay.
so with that, she would come to my classroom because I mean, everybody knows, and I'm sure if there's some first or second or even third year educators that started out in special education, that first year you're probably making it through on full flats. And
Yeah.
so you're barely making it. Somebody got to push the vehicle for you through the finish line.
Mm-hmm.
But she just showed me that, first of all, being a powerful Black woman is everything.
Yeah.
And standing on it and really understanding, you coming in these rooms, you need to go ahead and have that spirit. Don't come in here timid. Come in here like you know what you're doing and stand. She's my first one off the rip. Second one was Lana, and we have Nina Sharp. They're both sisters, and we were all in the same school.
Okay.
So just having that comfort with being amongst your people, and they're in education and they understand this is what we're going through, but at the same time, we're here to help each other so we can actually have an amazing career for these amazing students. And then, of course, I have my others, like my great grandmother. She passed away in 2017. She was an educator. And, I probably wouldn't be where I'm at now without them.
That's awesome. That's a great story. Thank you for sharing that.
Absolutely.
Well, Dr. Campbell, I want to thank you for coming on the show and sharing your journey, your passion, your mission with our viewers and our listeners. But before you leave, would you please share some parting words of wisdom? Tell us how we can connect with you, and then we'll say goodbye.
Well, in order to connect with me, of course, I'm on LinkedIn.
Yep.
I actually have my own education business. So if you guys need any assistance, I am a special education consultant. So I do anything from IEP development to professional development for leadership and those special educators. I help school districts and schools either revamp or create their special education department.
Nice.
So with that, strive through adversity, education services. That's me.
That's awesome. Do you have your own website?
I don't have a website. However, I do have like a cute flyer.
Okay. We'll put that in the show notes as well.
Absolutely. So you can find me there. You can find me on Instagram, Dr. Tootie2. That's TOOTIE and the number 2. That's what my big mama calls me, Tootie Toot. So why not? But you can find me on LinkedIn. But my parting words for anybody that's listening to this, and I need for everybody to really understand this. Don't ever let anybody tell you what you can't do.
Wow.
You can do whatever you want to do. I've had people tell me that I wouldn't get a degree and I'm 3 degrees deep. I've had people tell me that you won't finish your doctorate and I'm finished. And, I have 4 kids. So, you can really do it. Yeah, you can do it. Like, don't let nobody tell you that you can't do it. You can do whatever you want to do. So please do not be hard on yourself. A lot of times you are your own worst enemy. Be your best cheerleader.
That's a mic drop moment, my friend. You heard it straight from Dr. Campbell's mouth. Believe in you. Be your own cheerleader. Don't be your worst enemy. Be your own cheerleader. I love that.
Period.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Once again, Dr. Campbell, I'm very grateful you came on the show. And
thank you. Thank you for having me.
Keep moving forward. Keep doing you. And I'm sure the best is yet to come. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. I appreciate you, Doc.